All right, what is going on, Guff Gang? We are super excited to announce our newest sponsor, Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. They have eliminated the need to do countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top tier athletes for that specific sport. So it's basically like using SparkNotes but for DFS. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over/under based on its likelihood to occur, which makes it that much easier for you to win big. Speaking of winning big, let's talk about money. Thrive has awarded over $1,500,000 since launching in 2018, and just for the NFL Week 1 alone, they have $50,000 guaranteed in prizes. For me, that basically means 50,000 Taco Bell runs right there, so I don't know about you. All you have to do is use promo code GUFF, that's GUFF, and make at least a $20 deposit. You'll then get a $20 instant bonus on the spot, just like that. That easy, just for signing up using the promo code and doing a $20 deposit. To download the app, all you have to do is either go to the App Store, the Play Store, or you can go to their website at www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up, prop up, and get goofed.
Welcome, everybody, to Grown Up Fantasy Football. Joey Marino here with my two co-hosts, Zach Maziarz, James Reiner. And boys, we made it to week 1.
Ow, ow!
Finally here.
Football's back.
Oh, I'm so ready. So ready.
So today we are going to be bringing you a little bit of news. We are going to be doing some fantasy team reactions. We're going to tell you who we drafted in our drafts and give you a little bit of insight of who and why we drafted them. We'll be doing some predictions for each game this weekend, starting with tonight's game and going all the way to Monday. And lastly, we're going to be doing some Would You Rather Start, where we take two players and tell you who we'd rather start. Simple as that.
Got a lot.
That's right. We got a lot to go through. So without further ado, let's get into some news. News and updates. So first off, Alvin Kamara and the Saints, we got an update on that situation. They are close to an extension. So nothing really major to report, but if you want to be updated, go follow us on Twitter at GrownUpFF for those updates. Secondly, there's a lot of unofficial depth charts coming out, and try not to pay too much attention to them.
These are the worst.
Yeah, they're going to change. They're definitely going to change.
If it's any indication of them, J.D. Mckissick is listed as the starter right now for the Washington football team. So it's basically a small indication of why you should not pay attention to them at all.
Don't take them too seriously.
Nope. Next, Kareem Hunt got himself a deal. 2 years for $13.25 million.
I'm excited about this. This one is, it's not big money, but to me, it further validates my point in Kareem Hunt being that RB2, possibly RB1. Who knows what happens with Chubb, but they're willing to pay him. They're willing to extend his contract. I don't know. I think that's an indicator saying, hey, we're going to involve him as much as we can. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
As a Nick Chubb owner, this scares me. This tells me they like Kareem Hunt, and they obviously want him around for at least 2 more years. So I'm worried a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried too if I was a Chubb owner, because that's not good for you. Next,
I wouldn't pump the brakes too soon, though, for Chubb owners. It could still be a lot of the same. So
we'll see. Next, Deandre Hopkins got himself a new deal in Arizona. 2 years for $54.5 million.
Yeah.
Well deserved. The guy definitely deserved to be paid. One of the best receivers in the league.
Yep.
And he's going to do great things. So, sorry, Houston.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it's only 2 years. I would think Hopkins would kind of push for a longer deal, but it's still a lot of money. So
right. Yeah, that is a little strange. Joey, I did see too that on Twitter, you were actually getting a little bit of flack too for how low you had DeAndre Hopkins on your top 10 wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Twitter, for that. I mean, Hopkins can still be a top guy, but I like a lot of other players this year, so sue me. Moving on, Denver, the Broncos are a little afraid right now. Von Miller has a lower leg injury, so...
Yeah, I just saw this. Unfortunately, Vaughn hasn't really been Vaughn in a couple of years, so I don't really think this is that. I mean, that's terrible. Hopefully, it's not a season-ending injury. Hopefully, I saw something that said it was possibly something to do with the ankle, too. So, you hope that it's not season-ending. If it is, though, I don't see this affecting a whole lot just because, the past couple of years, we really haven't seen that same Von Miller that we're used to. So,
yeah. You hate to see it. It sounds like from what they're saying, they're afraid this is a season-ending injury, so it sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on Vaughn's situation. Not good at all. Lastly, Odell Beckham made himself some news.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. I don't know if anything is confirmed or not, but we'll let you do your own digging on that situation. So just go look up Odell Beckham on Twitter and at your own risk.
He's in Cleveland for a reason.
There you go.
Yeah,
he's the wide receiver 2 there. Actually, whoever drafted Jarvis Landry got the wide receiver 1. So,
all right. Well, without further ado, let's get into some reactions to our fantasy teams. All right, so this weekend before, we all drafted our fantasy teams. So we're going to tell you a little bit about each of our teams. And to start it off, James, why don't you go ahead?
With my own team?
Yes, please.
Okay. I liked it initially after the draft, and now I'm kind of scared about Chubb because of the Kareem Hunt deal. I'm a little worried about Connor. I like my wide receivers. I think Adams and Cooper are going to have a great year. And I like my quarterbacks, Brady and Rodgers.
Who's your tight end?
Mckissick.
And who's your flex?
And my flex is Singletary or Hollywood Brown.
Okay.
Very nice.
I'm liking your QB stack. If you go back a couple episodes, Brady and Rodgers were one of our top 5 QB stacks with receiver. You actually got one of the receivers in Devontae Adams with that stack, so you got our number 1 stack that we had. Chubb, with that Hunt news coming out, I know I'm pretty big on Hunt, but at the same time, I don't know. I see it being the same as it was before with that extension, so I don't see it really doing as much. Connor, I actually think he's going to do really well if he stays healthy. I saw it's kind of weird what Mike Tomlin said. He was saying how they have so many good running backs and all of them are just great backs that they can use and stuff. But then right after, said, Connor's the bell cow. So it's weird that he tried to sandwich that in. But I think Connor is going to be the bell cow unless there is an injury. I think that's his backfield to lose. And
yeah. Hey, James, where did you get James Conner in your draft?
The 3rd round. I had the third, 4th turnaround, so
okay,
pretty much back-to-back picks.
Yeah, no, that's
back of the 3rd.
That's you're getting RB1 upside right there. He was, I think, the steal of a lot of drafts. So,
right.
I mean,
because he's going around like Melvin Gordon, who I don't see being an RB1 this year. Le'Veon Bell, sometimes David Johnson. I know David Johnson in our draft went a little bit earlier than that. So yeah, I think Connor honestly has some of the most potential to be that RB1 in that range of RBs over there. So. And Jonathan Taylor, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm a big fan of your Mckissick pick.
Yeah, we got that in common.
Yep, we sure do. We'll get to that in a little bit. Any more thoughts?
The flex, I would rather say Hollywood in the flex than Singletary. I firmly believe Singletary is going to lose that job to Zach Moss, but I guess starting off the season, Singletary would be fine there, being matchup based. But I think Hollywood Brown's going to produce more for you in that flex. So, yep. But other than that, it looks good to me.
Yep, I agree. All right, Zach, why don't you give us your fantasy team?
With pleasure.
Your draft.
I have, and I'm very high on my team. I've been just looking at it, eyeballing it. It's beautiful. I've got Dak Prescott at QB, Kenyon Drake is my RB1, Austin Eckler is my RB2, Kenny Galladay is my wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton as wide receiver, Tyler Higby, and then in flex I have Lev Bell. So I'm pretty happy with my team. I kind of I know everyone says stay fluid, stay like water in the draft. I kind of had this draft strategy in mind where I knew, and I think a lot of people did actually, where they knew the value at wide receiver was pretty deep in the middle rounds. So wait for the middle rounds to go wide receiver, get the running backs a little bit early. So that's what I did. I took running back first 3 picks and then went wide receiver. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to get Kenny Galladay either. All the mocks I was doing, I was getting like Cooper Kupp, maybe Amari Cooper, but I was super shocked and pleased to get Kenny Galladay. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you go Drake Eckler or Eckler Drake?
I went Drake Eckler.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was going to go Josh Jacobs and then like Eckler or maybe Joe Mixon, but Jacobs and Mixon were both taken before my first round pick. So,
I mean, it's great when you have Kenyon Drake to fall to you right there. I like it. I think he had a really good team. Dak, that's a great pick. I think
I'm ready for him
a shot
to go
be
off.
maybe the QB1.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm a little nervous about the T.Y. Hilton pick. I had him last year, did not pan out. I was actually able to trade him away before he got injured for a couple of different trades. But yeah, I'm nervous this year because I could see him doing really well, but he is very injury prone. Who knows? Maybe Rivers doesn't key him out. Maybe Rivers is just passing to like Nyheim Hines and Jack Doyle or something like he doesn't, for the Chargers. So I'm a little nervous about that pick. Tyler Higby, I spent a little bit higher draft capital on him, so I'm hoping he does well. But, if he busts, then that's a pretty big bust for me because I think I got him in like the 7th or 8th round.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like your team too. Your first 2 running backs are very strong. Lev Bell kind of has some question marks for me just because I think the Jets are probably going to be a bad team this year. I don't have a lot of faith in them. Other than that, yeah, I think it's solid.
See, that's why I like Lev Bell, though. I'm ready for him to be peppered with some targets. I know Frank Gore's there, and they're probably going to vulture some goal line carries and some other carries and stuff, but I do think they're going to be playing from behind, and I've seen Adam Gase saying they want to involve him more in the passing game. He's trimmed down. He looks good. I'm ready for him to get some targets.
The thing that worries me about Lev Bell is the relationship with him and Gase. It's soured pretty bad.
Strictly platonic.
We'll see. But I think flex is about the right place for Lev Bell for now, at least. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my team.
Yes, I'll see it.
All right, at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Running back 1, Derrick Henry. Running back 2, Aaron Jones. Wide receiver 1, Allen Robinson. Wide receiver 2, Robert Woods. I got DK Metcalf in the flex and picked up Mike Gesicki at tight end.
So you go ahead, James.
I like it. I love Derrick Henry. I think Aaron Jones is going to be a solid player this year. A lot of people are kind of down on him, but I'm not in that boat. I think your wide receivers aren't top tier wide receiver 1s. They're probably going to be wide receiver 2s, but I don't think you really need them to be wide receiver 1s. And I think DK Metcalf, Gesicki, and Rodgers are all going to have good years this year.
I could see Rodgers. I love the Rodgers pick because I know you probably got him late. And I think he is a value for sure because he's got one of the easiest QB schedules this year, second year in LaFleur's offense. I think he's going to do well. Aaron Jones, I'm not as high on. I'm a pretty big Packers fan. With them spending the high draft capital on A.J. Dillon, seeing his tree trunk legs, I don't know. I could see him doing well still. I just don't know. He might be more of an RB2 this year than an RB1. Just because, he's going to hit that touchdown regression. So, yeah. Other than that, though, I think it looks good. Gesicki, I'm not as high as you both are on, but I think he's a great value as well. So, yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah. The thing with Aaron Jones is I was at 8, and so I was very tempted to take Julio at the turn. because he was sitting there, and I'm a huge Julio fan. But I was looking at the running backs right ahead, and it was pretty slim pickings after Aaron Jones. So I decided to take a running back with RB1 upside, and I love Robert Woods. I think he gets peppered with targets. Now, Allen Robinson got a ton of targets last year. We'll see.
With them saying Mitch Trubisky is the starter too, like he only has eyes for Allen Robinson, so I think you're good there. But no, I agree, and I know like that's what I did. You know, I was like, okay, the running backs I wanted were gone, but I'm still going to get a running back. I kind of knew that in my head, so yeah, I'd rather have Aaron Jones on my team. You know, a stack of Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones than Derrick Henry and like Melvin Gordon or something like that. So
yeah,
so definitely. I understand what you did.
Well, all right. I think it's about time we do some game day predictions.
All right, so let's get into the games for week 1. We are here. We are ready. First, we're going to be talking about our game tonight, the Thursday Night Football game, Texans at Chiefs. So, James, give me a lowdown. What you think is going to happen? What fantasy players you think are going to go off? Maybe some that you think could bust. You know, any outcomes? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a shootout with the Chiefs ultimately ending up winning. I'm playing everybody. I'm playing Mahomes, Watson, Hill, Fuller, David Johnson, CEH. I'm playing them all. I think they're all going to have a great fantasy night. I don't think you can afford to sit anyone in this game, really.
Yep. I agree. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. Mahomes and Tyreek is going to be big points. Deshaun's going to have a good game, and I think Will Fuller does a lot of work. I'm not as big on David Johnson, but I like Will Fuller in this matchup for sure.
I think it's going to be...
I was just going to say, do you think anyone can afford to sit David Johnson, though? Like, does anyone have that option?
If you have the option, I would, but if you don't, go for it. You'll probably be fine in this game.
I want to see, with David Johnson, I want to see him get peppered with targets. I know that they have into the past targeted or hyper-targeted their running backs. I could see David Johnson rushing for 50, 60 yards. So I would like to see him have some receptions because it is going to be a shootout, like James said. So, if he doesn't get those receptions, I could see him just having a mediocre rushing game. So, yeah, that'd be nice to see. But, again, you can't really afford to sit him. So, All right. Moving on, we've got the Sunday noon games. We have Jets at Bills. I personally think Stephon Diggs is going to bust. I think keep an eye on Chris Herndon, though. I know he's going undrafted. Sometimes you can pick him up off of waivers. But I think this would be the game to see what he's made of, what he can do. And then Lev Bell, of course. I'm excited to see if he can get some peppered with some targets. But Joey, what do you think? What's going to happen with this game?
I see this as a slugfest. I think Josh Allen is going to have more rushing yards than passing yards in this game. And it may be by design. I say Zach Moss vultures those end zone touchdowns. And I think the Jets are going to have a bad time.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think the Bills are going to dominate this game. I think you have to start the Bills defense. I'm worried about starting Le'Veon Bell, but I think you probably have to play him. I don't think anyone has a choice. I'd feel comfortable starting any Bills player in this matchup. I would not feel comfortable starting any Jets. And the only one you're probably going to start is Le'Veon Bell.
What if you were debating on starting John Brown in your flex? Would you start him?
I think you can do that, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I could see it taking some time for Stephon Diggs to really build that rapport, to get into that game. Focus with Josh Allen. So I could see John Brown having a couple of good games, and particularly this one could be it. So moving on, though, we got Packers at Vikings. I'm excited about this. I'm thinking Rodgers is going to have a 20-plus point game. The Vikings D, it's not amazing. I think Dalvin Cook probably will go off still because the Packers run D isn't also that great either. But yeah, I don't really see much with Aaron Jones, though. Could be wrong. Joey, I know you've got Aaron Jones, so what do you think? You think he'll go off? You think Rodgers and him will go off? What do you think?
I do. Aaron squared makes a thunderous entrance into week 1, I think. And I think the Packers are going to light him up. I think Devontae finds the end zone. I think Aaron Jones finds the end zone. I think the Packers may hold Dalvin Cook a little bit, but I also think Justin Jefferson, watch out for him. He's going to be playing that new Stephon Diggs role. He makes a big splash, I think, in game one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
James?
I think you have to play Rodgers, Adam Jones, Thielen, and Cook. You probably don't have to play Kirk Cousins. Maybe in a 2-quarterback league, you might play Kirk Cousins, which I think would be okay. But, yeah, other than that, I think it's pretty safe playing all those players.
Are y'all at all interested in the Vikings tight ends? We got Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph. Would y'all, if you were
Not
desperate, didn't take a tight end at all in the draft?
Not for me, not week one.
Yep. If I had to take one, it's Rudolph.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Agreed there. Okay, moving on. Eagles, Washington. James, what do you think of this game? I know you're a Washington football team fan, so let's hear your reaction, what your thoughts will be.
First off, is Wentz going to play? Is that for sure?
I think so.
I think everything's pointing towards him playing, yeah.
Okay, then I think you have to play Deshaun Jackson then. I think Redskins secondary is a little rough, and I think they'll be able to pass on them. I'm a little scared playing Miles Sanders, but I would play him still. I think you have to. Mm-hmm. I think Gibson and McLaurin on the Washington football team are in for a good game, so I think those are all the players you play.
Last year, Scary Terry topped 150 yards twice, and both of those games were against the Eagles, so I think he's got a great game. I could see Antonio Gibson doing some good things. I see him more as like when Miles Sanders kind of came in some of those games last year in place of Jordan Howard. He had some really explosive plays that got you some fantasy points, but he didn't have like a lot of production and a lot of touches. I could see that being Antonio Gibson this game where he's got some really explosive plays, but ultimately he's held to pretty few touches. And I agree with Miles Sanders. I'm hesitant. I don't know. But I actually see Washington winning this one. I feel like they're going to win it just with the Eagles, their beat-up wide receiver core. I don't think they've got anybody. I think their defense, their secondary is not that great. Receiver core is not that great right now. So, yeah, I see Washington winning this one.
I agree.
So I think
Joey?
Zach Ertz is a big play right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's your receiver. And who's going to stop him, I think. Everything else I agree with. McLaurin, great play. Miles Sanders, you got to play him, but be careful. You'll probably see some Boston Scott in there. And,
What happens? What happens, Joey? I see that you put, you could see Boston Scott if, Sanders isn't 100% or if he re-injures himself. How much would you spend on Boston Scott in a Fab League if Sanders went down week one or re-injured himself? James, how much do you think you would spend on him?
You got to spend a lot. At least 50%, right?
I mean, he did well last year with Sanders in there. He was, on the goal line. He was doing good things. So I think it would depend on the Sanders injury, how long he's injured for. But I don't know. If Sanders got injured in training camp and if he were to get injured again this season, I feel like they'd be like, okay, let's revert back to that running back by committee. So I feel like Boston Scott would still have a slice of the pie regardless if that happened. So
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go 50%. I'd probably go, I don't know. That's hard at the beginning of the season, too.
What do you think it would take to get him? What do you think the highest person in the league is willing to put down for him?
I think it depends on what the teams look like. I could see someone who drafted heavy wide receiver who had no running backs probably putting 50%. So you're right. There probably are some people who would do that thinking, okay, this is my shot to get my my running back. But I don't think I'd do more than 20.
Okay.
I'd say about 20 as well.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we have the Browns and the Ravens. So, James, this is where you get to see if your Nick Chubb pick paid off. What you think?
Yeah. I'm worried this week. I think the Ravens are going to kind of dominate this game. I don't have faith in the Browns, but I think you have to play Chubb. I think you have to play Beckham. I wouldn't play any other Browns. Probably not Landry either, if I can avoid it. But all your Ravens, you're launching. Hollywood, Lamar.
Yep.
Andrews.
Couldn't agree more. Yep.
Ingram.
Yep.
I'd even play the Ravens defense. I think that's a good play this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I think I put Kareem Hunt's going to outscore Nick Chubb.
God.
I'm basically going to call my shot until it happens. If it happens this week, then I'll stop. But if it doesn't, I'm just gonna keep going. But yeah, I think Lamar and Hollywood's the connection to look for. Was gonna say Lamar and Andrews, but I think it's gonna be Lamar and Hollywood. Show us what they got. Browns have that below average defense, so nothing too worried about there. But yeah,
Joey? I like both Hollywood, Mark Andrews. Start all your Ravens. Start Ingram. I kind of like Landry in this matchup, but maybe just me. But yeah, I agree with all the other takes.
Yep. Cool. Pretty simple there. Colts and Jags. Joey, what do you think? Heard someone audibly sigh.
Oh, yeah, this is not going to be a pretty game. You can take your shot on either of the Colts running backs. I like Marlon Mack a little bit more. I think, it's week one with no preseason. I don't know if they want to use Jonathan Taylor too much. I think Mack will get more use. And I see, maybe a pretty decent game with Gardner Minshew and DJ Chark. That could be a pretty good connection. It was good last year, but that's kind of what I'm thinking for this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking about the Colts, but I think they're going to do really well this year. I think last year was a bad year for Rivers. I think he's got all the weapons he needs. So they've got a great offensive line. He's got talented running backs, talented receivers. They've got a sleeper defense. I think all signs are pointing well for the Colts. So I think it's going to be, pretty lopsided game. Jaguars not able to do much, playing from behind. I think maybe we got Jonathan Taylor, vulture touchdown or so. But I think that's probably, unless he has a breakaway run or a touchdown, that'd be about the only way, making him worth the start. I think it is going to be Marlon Mack to start the season at least. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this looks like an ugly game to me. I'm probably only playing T.Y. Hilton and Chark. I probably would avoid everyone else. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring.
What do y'all think of James Robinson? He's named the starting running back for the Jaguars. Would y'all start him? Take a chance?
Flex play. I wouldn't start him over a proven guy or anything.
Yeah,
I would rather start Chris Thompson.
Yes.
Over James Robinson.
I agree.
He's the passing down back, and he's got rapport with Jay Gruden. But I don't know if I'd.
I think it's going to be a muddy backfield. I think everyone's kind of clamoring to James Robinson, but in reality, no one really was that high on Leonard Fournette, and he's a much better talent than all the running backs the Jaguars have right now. So I think it's going to be a committee approach, and even then, there's not going to be much production there. So, all right, let's move on to the Raiders and Panthers. I think this is going to be a slow game. I think this is going to be Josh Jacobs' CMC show, just ground and pound, maybe a deep ball here and there. But, yeah, that's all I see. What do y'all think? Joey?
I agree. I think it's going to be pretty slow, but I think that deep ball is going to go Henry Ruggs' way. I think he makes the splash.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to start Ruggs, actually. I think these defenses are both pretty weak.
Yeah.
And I think Ruggs, Jacobs, CMC, and Moore, I think they should all have pretty big games.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to call my shot. I'm going to say Bryan Edwards has a better game than Henry Ruggs.
It could happen.
We'll see.
I don't think so.
Bookmark it.
All right, you heard it here first.
Exactly. Bears and Lions. James. Rar, Lions. What do you think?
A-Rob must start. Stafford must start. Galladay must start. I would start Hawkinson. I think that's a decent play.
Wow.
Would you guys play Swift?
No.
Not confident?
I think the running game is going to be ugly. I think Adrian Peterson's going to get a little bit more than we like. Yes. Patricia already said he's going to get some looks in the backfield week one, which is very concerning. But, yeah, I'm afraid because Carry-On, he's always battling injury. Swift is currently battling, I think, a minor injury, but, he's been out of training camp. So, I'm nervous about that backfield. I'm staying away from it right now, waiting until something's proven. But, yeah, I think Samuel Trubinsky is going to come out. A-Rob's going to be hyper-targeted. Galladay's going to be hyper-targeted. Ugly game.
Do you have to start Cohen if Montgomery is not playing, which he's Most likely not.
I think so. They have
I think
no one
so.
else.
Yeah, he's got good rapport with Trubisky.
Yep.
I think I agree with the AP take too. I think if you're going to play any Lions running back, then God help you. But
I would say if Swift could dress in a Bears uniform and play for the Bears week 1, I'd start him.
Oh yeah,
Make that happen.
I think Stafford's either boom or bust for me though. He's either going to soar with Golladay, and I don't know if I would start Marvin Jones in this one, but I think Stafford could either have a great game or Khalil Mack gets to him all night.
Yep. Marvin Jones, you got to wait mid-season for him to have 2 or 3 good games, and then you just bench him again. Mm-hmm. It's too hard to call that. Couldn't do it week 1. Seahawks at Falcons. We got 2 birds. I guess I don't really know if a Seahawk is a birds of prey, but birds of prey. All right, what do we got, James? What do you think is going to happen here?
It's going to be a shootout. You got to play everybody.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
James, is there anyone you're not playing in these games? Who are you not playing in the Seahawks-Falcons game?
I think you're playing everyone. I mean, you're playing Metcalf, you're playing Lockett, you're playing the QBs, you're playing the running backs. Is there someone y'all would bench?
Greg Olsen.
Yeah, Greg Olsen.
What was that?
Greg Olsen.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I wouldn't trust Greg Olsen. I wouldn't trust the tight ends right now.
Yep.
You trust Hayden Hurst this first game?
I don't. I'm not a Hayden Hurst fan.
Mm-hmm. Really? Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think Todd Gurley, I can see him doing well. Maybe getting some touchdowns, some receptions. I think Matt Ryan actually generates more points than Mr. Unlimited himself, but I think, honestly, half the games you could say that just because the Seahawks are willing to run so much, so I don't think that's a huge surprise. But yeah, Joey, what do you think?
Agree with everything. Everybody's kind of a smash play this week. One thing to look for is Carlos Hyde's usage in the passing game. Carson kind of came on with a bunch of targets in the later half of last season. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep using him in the passing game or if they start using Carlos Hyde there. So that's all I got.
I feel like Carlos Hyde isn't a good enough talent at catching and receiving to be vulturing those passes from Carson, but who knows?
See.
We'll see. Stranger things have happened. Mm-hmm. All right. Dolphins and Patriots. I think Cam goes off. Preston Williams does very well. Yeah, that's about all I got there. I think Patriots win this one. I know my bold take was the Dolphins win the division, but I think Patriots win this game.
Yeah, I'm scared to play any Dolphin. I don't think I'm. Maybe Devontae Parker, if I have to. I think Cam has a great game. I think you can play Edelman. I think the defense is a great play. And then I guess you have to play Sony Michel with Damian Harris out.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be more production to Rex Burkhead and James White, just because Sony Michel's coming off of that foot surgery and he's been out of training camp. I think they either try and ease him back or he just shows signs of not being completely ready. So I could see Rex Burkhead and James White getting more production from the Damian Harris injury.
I could too. I think Edelman is going to be the primary beneficiary of Cam Newton's success, which will be a lot. I also think Devontae Parker is probably the only Dolphin I would play at a flex to get a garbage time touchdown because Fitzmagic is going to sling it.
Yeah.
Man, I think Parker's got wide receiver 2 screaming this game.
Would you guys play Harry in this matchup?
No.
N'Keal Harry?
I'd probably wait on him.
I'd wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait to see what's going on. But I think most people have him on their bench. I don't think they're struggling right now to determine that. So hopefully you don't have to make that call. All right, let's move on to the afternoon games. We're going to go through these a little bit quicker. Chargers and Bengals. I'm thinking this is the Eckler-Mixon show. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I agree. I think you can play the wide receivers too. Keenan Allen, AJ Green, Tyler Boyd. I'd be comfortable playing any of them.
I think Boyd's actually going to do better than AJ Green. I think on the season, Boyd's going to do better than AJ Green, but I think this game he would as well.
I say Boyd, no AJ Green. I say Hunter Henry's a pretty good play too. Eckler and Mixon, load them up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
Would you
say
guys
real
play
quick.
Burrow?
Nope,
Nah.
not in game one.
Yeah, not in game one.
Probably no
I
one
also
really
want to
needs
say real quick, for everyone who
Week one.
hates on Austin Eckler and saying that Tyrod Taylor is going to, basically just lower his production from Phillip Rivers being there because Phillip Rivers peppers the running back with targets. Tyrod Taylor in 2017-2018, his check down rate was like 8.7%, which was tied with Phillip Rivers. And on top of that, Anthony Lynn was a running back, and he wants to involve his running back. So I don't see Eckler losing anything from last year. He's the go-to. Melvin Gordon is gone. I think he's going to dominate this year. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I couldn't say that before the draft because I knew I wanted him. So now I am open to say it.
I agree.
All right, so let's go Cardinals and 49ers. Cardinals have a little bit more aerodynamic pants because they just emptied their wallets for D-Hop. James, what are your thoughts on this game?
You have to play Murray, Drake, and D-Hop. 49ers, you probably have to play Mostert and Kittle. I would not play the 49ers defense in this matchup, even though they're supposed to be the best one. I think the Cardinals have a dangerous offense this year.
Yep.
Your guys' thoughts?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Mostert's a good play. Watch for McKinnon and Coleman. It's going to be a three-headed monster this year, so this is where you find out who's going to get the bulk of the carries. I think Jimmy G is a pretty good streamer this week, but I agree. I don't know if I would start the 49ers defense this season, but load up your Cardinals. And that sounds weird saying that against the 49ers, but
yeah.
I
think George Kittle, too, is probably expected to get your fantasy team at least half of their weekly points because it's the Cardinals. They ranked the worst against tight ends points per game last year. So I think all indicators say that you will get a good 50 points from George Kittle. But yeah, I'm buying that Jerick McKinnon hype, too. I went ahead and picked him up off waivers. I think, it is a three-headed monster, but we saw last year Raheem Mostert came away with it towards the end. That was unexpected. I could see, Tevin Coleman, kind of being the odd man out. Raheem Mostert doing well and stuff. Anything happens to him, Jerick McKinnon comes in, maybe plays lights out. I think they're still trying to get him involved regardless, though. So, with a backfield and a game plan as dynamic as theirs to get the running backs involved, I'd like a piece of it. I know it's a running back by committee type thing, but I'd like a piece of it. So I went ahead and picked him up. I suggest looking into him at least.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got Bucks and Saints. This is going to be a fun game now with Tom Brady and Drew Brees going against each other. And this is like one of the few games that you'll see the Bucks playing in the afternoon and not at 12 o'clock, I feel like, just because they got Brady now. So what are your thoughts, Joey? Let us know what's going to happen. What's going on?
All right. I think everybody could either go off or this could be a snooze fest, which I think is a little contrarian. But I generally predict everybody's going to go off. Play your wide receivers, play your quarterbacks. Evans, Godwin, Brady, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees. Play Kamara. I think Fournette is a good flex just to see where he's going to be used and how he's going to be used. Avoid Rojo, and I think O.J. Howard could be a sneaky tight end stream this week.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm probably avoiding Fournette if I can. I don't feel comfortable playing on week one. I think everyone else you probably have to start. Gronk, Evans, Godwin, Brady, Breeze, Thomas, Kamara.
Yep. I actually think Fournette wouldn't be the worst flex play. I think he's going to outscore Rojo. I feel like this game's going to be a pretty high scoring, pretty good game. I don't think it's going to be a snooze fest at all. Like you said, there's the chance of, Joey.
It could happen.
I don't know. I just see with the Saints, they're not predominantly run. And the Bucks, I don't think they've got a good enough run game to warrant the run. I think it's going to be lights out passing. I think Evans, Godwin, Michael Thomas, maybe even Emmanuel Sanders all have a good game. So I don't think I would start Emmanuel Sanders yet, but I could see him doing well, getting some of those targets that that aren't going to Michael Thomas. So, but yeah, I can see everyone going off in this game except for Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
All right. Now we got Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and Rams. I think this is going to be a fun one. I guess it really does depend on what kind of Jared Goff you get, but it could be a fun one. Sean McVay's already come out and said they're basically going to be using all three backs in the backfield, so basically came out and told us they're going to have a committee. So does this take away anything that you guys thought about Cam Akers? Were you high on him? Did you even really consider Cam Akers at all? What do y'all think? What do y'all think about this game, too?
Yeah, I mean, the Rams running back is a fantasy monster usually, so you're always interested, but if they're going to do a committee, it's hard to pick out who's going to be the guy who gets you the points week in, week out. So, yeah, that's kind of depressing with for Cam Akers owners. I think you probably have to play him week one, though. I think I feel like Rams defense could be a good play this week. They're playing at the Rams in LA, so I don't know. Cowboys are usually a little shaky to start the season. I could see some turnovers.
Right. I could see with any of these teams being shaky to start the season, just at the start of the season. Training camp's so much different than actual games, especially not having preseason games. So, yeah, honestly, any of these games, I could see a big monster defensive game. So, one thing, too, I would like to point out is that I could see Amari Cooper drawing that coverage to where from Jalen Ramsey to where, maybe Michael Gallup or even CeeDee Lamb have a monster game. Joey, what do you think? I see you've got Lamb in there too.
Mm-hmm. I think Lamb is the play right here. Cooper's going to get the Jalen Ramsey coverage, and CeeDee Lamb, I think the talent is going to outshine. I know I made the take on Michael Gallup, and I still believe Michael Gallup is
You've changed,
talented,
Joey. You've changed.
But I do think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a big game. I like Woods over Cooper Kupp in this game, and I think we're going to see, if the Cowboys pass rush that they spend a bunch of money on and is terrific on paper like the rest of the Cowboys, see if it's for real.
Yep. I agree. All right, Monday Night Football, Steelers at Giants. We got yours truly, James Conner. Oh, you both have the same name. Look at that. Wow. Is that why you drafted him?
That's how I draft.
That's what you go for? That's a good draft strategy right there. All right, What are your thoughts, James?
You got to play your Giants. Probably playing Big Ben, Juju, Connor. You have to play Saquon. I'm not playing any other Giants. I like the Steelers' defense a lot in this matchup. I think they're a must-start.
Giants receivers, some of them stick out to me, but I'm avoiding them right now because I'd like to see and get some further clarity on who's going to be the de facto go-to. Could be just hyper-target Ingram, but, he's known to be injured, so I don't know. Could be Slayton. I would love that, but could also be Golden Tate. Could be Sterling Shepard, so we'll see what happens, but I agree with your takes. Joey?
I think the only Giants player aside from Saquon I would start is Evan Ingram because that defense is ferocious. They are going to cover up all those receivers, and Daniel Jones is going to check down to either Saquon or Ingram.
Yeah, I think this will be a big Steelers defense game.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right, and lastly, we have Titans at Broncos. I think this is going to be more of a snooze fest. I think this won't be really a huge fantasy-producing game and could see this being kind of an average game. I mean, not to say like Derrick Henry won't do well, but I don't see him having like a 30-point or 20-something point game. But yeah, all in all, I could see with the rust of not having preseason and just this being such a weird season, I could see that translating to these two teams the most. What do y'all think?
I think Titans dominate this game. I think Henry could very possibly have a 30-point game in this matchup. I like A.J. Brown a lot. I'm probably avoiding every Broncos player, except you probably had to play Melvin Gordon. That's the only one I would play.
So you'd rather play Melvin Gordon over Phillip Lindsay?
Yes.
Yep. I would too. I'd play Courtland Sutton, but
probably have to.
Probably about it. I know some people drafted Noah Fant hoping he's going to do well and go off, so you might have to start him. I'd personally like to wait a little bit with this matchup, but But yeah, who knows? He could have his lights out game and solidify why you drafted him in the later rounds this week. So, Joey, what do you think?
So I'm out on a limb on this one, and I think that this could be a little more high scoring than we think. I agree with James that the Titans.
You guys both basically just said, "Screw you, Zach. It's not going to be an average game."
That's exactly what we said, Zach.
That's right. Yeah, we have it in the doc.
This is stupid of me. Sorry.
So I think even with the news of Von Miller going out, I think the Broncos get behind, and this is where Drew Lock airs it out. And I think Cortland Sutton is still a good play, but I think the sneakier play is Jerry Judy. KJ Hamler's out with an injury, and Judy is an incredible route runner. He's got great speed and terrific hands. They're in Mile High. That ball is going to soar, and I think Jerry Judy is going to fly.
You know what I think? I think you're high. I think you are too obsessed with Alabama players that you have to let it seep through your takes.
What?
Yeah, I don't have confidence in Judy this week at all.
Nope.
I mean, I think they could get behind, and I think something could happen. The other thing to watch, though, is Philip Lindsay's pass game usage, because Melvin Gordon can do both, but we'll see how they use Philip Lindsay going forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Some of these teams like the Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay, see what the usage is. What are we able to expect? Because right now we've been going off of coach speak, training camp news, everything, to where this is kind of the indicator of, okay, this can give us kind of more of a clear-cut picture on how they're both going to be used in this offense. So yeah, that's exciting to be able to see and to be able to finally get that input on these players.
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. Well, that's all for the game predictions. I think we're going to be moving on now to Would You Rather Start.
Would you rather start?
I just got to close my eyes for these. Lightning round.
All right, would you rather? Who would you rather play in these scenarios? Zach, Tom Brady, or Aaron Rodgers?
Rodgers.
Joey?
Rodgers.
Oh, okay, wow. I actually said Brady. Okay, Singletary or Hollywood Brown? Zach?
Hollywood.
Joey?
Hollywood.
Hollywood for me, too.
I feel like I'm on Jeopardy.
What is Hollywood?
All right, Scary Terry or DK Metcalf? Joey?
Metcalf.
Really?
I got Scary Terry.
Yeah, I'm playing Scary Terry, too. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mostert or Le'Veon Bell, Zach?
Ding, ding. Bell.
Wow. Joey?
Wow.
Give me the mustard.
Yeah, I think I'm playing Mostert, too. I'm worried about Bell this year.
Let's
Okay,
just
Brandon.
put a bookmark in this episode, and we'll come back to it on Monday.
All right, Zach, Brandon Cooks or AJ Green?
I put Brandon Cooks originally. Now it's saying that he's got a quad injury and didn't practice this week, so I'm going to switch to AJ Green.
Joey?
Yeah, AJ Green.
If Brandon Cooks plays, I'm saying Brandon Cooks.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if he's not, AJ Green.
Nope, you're locked in at Brandon Cooks.
All right, Fitzgerald or Kerryon Johnson, Joey?
Larry Legend.
Lightning Larry.
Zach?
Isn't that what they call him?
Luciano. I got Larry Fitzgerald. Kerryon Johnson's too inconsistent. At least you got consistency with Fitz.
All right, we all got Larry Fitzgerald. Stephon Diggs or Will Fuller, Zach?
Fuller House.
Joey?
Not that garbage show, but Will Fuller.
I'm Will Fuller, too. Evan Ingram or Gronk, Joey?
Ingram.
Zach?
I got Ingram too. I know you're going to disagree, James.
Yeah, I'm going Gronk. He's going to be a stud this year, I'm telling y'all.
He's too old.
I think him and Brady's got to shake off some rust before they're able to get into their final form. But
Wow.
we'll see.
I'm very confident in Gronk. All right, Cam Akers to DeAndre Swift. Zach?
I feel bad after I got Akers. We'll see what happens. This one's a toss-up.
You're not happy about it, though.
Nope.
Joey?
Akers.
Yeah, I'm going Akers, too.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a safer play.
Yeah.
Okay, Henry Ruggs or Devontae Parker, Joey?
Okay, so I had Devontae Parker originally, but I'm kind of feeling Ruggs.
Joey
Zach?
wanted to say Jerry Judy, even though he wasn't their option.
Tua.
I've got Devontae Parker.
Wow, I'm going Ruggs. I think he's going to have a great game this week.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Cam Newton or Matthew Stafford? Zach?
Newton.
Joey?
Matthew Stafford is delicious, but I do love Fig Newton.
I think Cam Newton's going to have a great week this week. I think he's a must start, so I'm going Cam.
Quick little stat. The Dolphins allowed 21 fantasy points per game to QBs last year, so I think Newton's about to go off.
Yeah, There you go. Kareem Hunt or Ronald Jones? Zach?
Hunt.
Joey?
New extension.
Hunt, easy.
Yeah, I think Hunt definitely. Calvin Ridley or Tyler Boyd? Joey?
This one was kind of tough, but I think Boyd just slightly. I think A.J. Green gets Chris Harris, and you can see Jamal Adams kind of comboing on Julio. So Ridley could see looks, but I think Boyd.
Zach?
I say Boyd.
I say Boyd too. I think he's a safer play.
Yeah.
Jordan Howard or Sony Michel? Zach?
This one is really just terrible. I put Sony Michel just because I think both of them, you are just hoping one will fall into the end zone. I put Sony Michel just because it's the Dolphins D as opposed to the Patriots D. So,
Joey?
Yeah, I really don't want either of these guys. Michelle, if I had to pick.
I'm actually confident playing Sony Michel, so I would gladly take Sony Michel in this scenario.
All right. All right.
Well, that does it for our start/sit would you rather questions.
and we got one last topic. Wanted to see who you guys think is going to be the top fantasy scorer this week. Could be any position. I know, James, you probably picked a kicker, went to a tight end, went to a defense, and then just all across the board. But James, who do you think is going to be the top fantasy scorer for this week?
I think it's going to be Will Fuller. I think it's going to be a shootout. The Texans are going to need to keep up with the Chiefs. I think the only way they're going to be able to do that is some long balls from Watson to Fuller.
I like that.
I can see
you've
Fuller having like a 4-touchdown game.
Yeah, I love that. You see Will Fuller with DeAndre Hopkins there having the top fantasy score of the week. So I see that for sure. Joey, what do you got?
So I know I said earlier that it could be a snooze fest, and we have seen that before remember the Super Bowl with the Rams and the Patriots, very low-scoring game with very high-scoring offenses. But I'm going to have to go with Michael Thomas. I think they're throwing the ball. I mean, he gets all the targets. I mean, how do you not take Michael Thomas?
Safe play.
True.
It's a very safe play.
It's pretty safe.
I'm a safe man.
I've got top fantasy scorer of the week as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Houston ranked the fourth worst in points per game allowed to running back last year. And I am genuinely just hoping for that Kareem Hunt game where first game of the season against the Patriots, the Chiefs used him well. And that is what I'm hoping with Clyde Edwards-Helaire tonight in this Thursday night game. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited about it, though.
Hey,
Yeah.
Zach, you know what I think about that take?
What?
I think it's hilarious.
I thought we agreed no puns on the podcast.
We're grown-ups. We have to. But that about does it for this episode. And, be sure to go follow us on Twitter at GrownUpFF. We are available wherever you listen to a podcast, whether it be Google, Apple, Spotify, wherever.
I thought you meant wherever, as in like under a tree, in the park,
you never
in your
know.
home,
Grown-ups
wherever
are
you listen to
everywhere.
your podcast.
The grown-ups are everywhere. So go give us a listen. Leave a comment down below of what your predictions are going to be or who you think the top fantasy scorer of the week will be. Feel free to subscribe to us. Actually, you know what? Please subscribe to us. We would love the subscriptions and the follows on Facebook and Twitter.
You're
But
too modest. Subscribe. Do it.
yeah, go subscribe, go grow up, and get guffed. Guffers, you know what's up. We are very excited to announce this season we are partnered with Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. So once again, go to thrivefantasy.com or download the app and use our promo code GUFF, G-U-F-F, for $20 for a $20 bonus when you deposit $20 or more. Sign up, prop up, and get guffed.